if you wanted to. You always use the visual to narrow down what you're interested in, and then if I click on that one, it's going to show me a different inspection, and then I can click on that to open it up. So this is brilliant because if you plan it out, I mean, it's flexible throughout the project that you could just say, oh, actually, now we've done our benchmarking apartment, we're going to do more inspections, or we're going to take one of these inspections out. You could easily just do that in the Google Sheet, take out the one inspection, the next time it refreshes itself, you've now got 3 checklists being monitored, not the 4. So really flexible.
We can do that. We can do that bit of alteration ourselves, James. Can we?
Yeah. We hand it over to you because we don't know what you want to do in the plan and stuff. So.
But it means you putting it in, Kevin. It means you putting that schedule in.
Yeah, it's not tricky to do.
No, but I'm just saying, it gets information from somewhere. Someone's got to put all of those forms in there. So then you've got the boxes that are not coloured, but it's not been opened yet. But you put them in there at the start of the project. So your whole process are embedded into the project.
So if we've got 100 forms already in Snagger, will we have like a form picker to see which ones we want? Right, okay. We could get Natalie to do that, Dave, couldn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it sounds like that's probably easier to do what you've said there because it's nearly live, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it's overnight. Yeah, we pull this in overnight and then it'll all update ready for tomorrow's progress meeting that this is what we've done. You can use this for all sorts. We all know how much you plan to do. It might be 10,000 forms, might be 1,000 forms, but we'll be then monitoring the progress complete. But then if you need to find out how complete you are with carpentry first fix, you would just filter down to that activity. Oh, it's still broken, sorry, not a good example, but use a filter to a particular form, carpentry first fix, maybe even to a floor, level 7, and it'll tell you you're 78% complete of that activity compared to what you had planned to do. You get a ton of information from this one just by putting in quite a basic plan of what your inspection test plan would be.
What do you think of that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, if we can add and remove certain aspects of the forms, I think that'd be quite flexible for us to get what we need, because obviously some plots are totally different to others and apartment blocks, etc. as well. So yeah, so it's not one standard.
Oh, but and if we had a trad scheme, maybe we'd have different forms for different frame scheme. We probably would have to review that with the site guys before we start on site, maybe, and set the kind of objectives up.
Yeah, absolutely. But the forms are very, very similar anyway, Kevin. What we've done, they all really migrate from trad other than the timber frame aspects. The rest is very, very similar. So yeah, why not?
I mean, this is an extremely detailed plan. They plan to do a slightly different set of checks for a house pile private compared to a house pile affordable and all sorts. Typically, you would set up what your just an identifiable, so it might just be typical apartment. And then you would go through, and like you say, it's a picker of your 100 forms, but you could just start typing in and it'll find everything on your forms to do with electrical. So I'll say, well, I'm going to start off with the first fix electrical, then I'll do the mechanical or whatever. And you're just setting up what your typical sequence is for a typical apartment. Then you might have a variant apartment with bath. So you can steal what you've already done. You can stick a bath one in if you've got a bath panel installation. So once you come up with all your sequences, and there's probably a corridor one and a lift one or whatever, the next step would be that against each of the locations, so we'll export the locations that we've set up for Snagger, hard drive, sorry, effectively, against each plot, you would just be saying, I'm doing your ones are at the bottom here, typical apartment against those ones, that one's an apartment with a bath, and that is what tells our system that that one has got a bath apartment one and this one's a corridor, etc. So then once that refreshes, we'll calculate that you're expected to do 1,200 forms. You might think, oh God, I better get started, that's quite a lot. And we'll then just track those 1,200 forms till the cows come home. But at any point, you like say you've just done a quick benchmark apartment and you think, actually, it's very important we do a carpentry install because everyone's got a fire door. Put that in, and then overnight, all 100 typical apartment locations will now have an extra square next to it on its line because we're now tracking that form. If you've already done this inspection against that location, it will then colour it in already. It's not as if you have to suddenly do a fresh form because you changed the plan after you've done the action. So yeah, really, really fluid, nice and quick, really, to put it in.
They don't have any cows in Wales. They've only got sheep, James. When the sheep come home, not when the cows come home.
We've eaten all the cows. They're all gone.
But it's a shame that dashboard hasn't got more information, James, because it looks a lot better. If you take something like Canada Street with 18,000 forms on a large project, it's pretty impressive when you look at what's been complete, what needs to be completed to end the project. But anyway, that's...
No, if a project allowed me to showcase it, I've got many projects with 20, 30,000 forms, and once it's all coloured in, you go, God, I wouldn't have liked to do that in a manual tracker. But yeah, we don't have the time to fill in 19,000 or 20,000 forms just to make it look pretty, unfortunately.
Okay, so that would give us the information on the second part of that form.
Yeah.
But Kevin, this goes into where you're going with the email conversation you sent. You've already got your schedule in Astra. You do Astra or Microsoft Project? I can't remember which you use.
MS Project.
You've got MS Project. So what James just showed you there is your MS Project. We're replicating that here.
Well, but we're not linking the completion of the forms to program durations as such. We're just linking a form to a plot, aren't we? So every plot will have a number of forms to complete, and Dave can just go in and see how many ticks or how many green boxes there are to show how many plots are complete. I'm going to go on to MS Project in a second now before James leaves the call, because I want to poke a bit on that, to be honest with you. Your thing that you've already got pretty much gives us what can we do it by plot as opposed, well, it's however it's set up on the project. If it's set up by plot, then it'll give us the information by plot. If it was set up by elevation, do we set them up in elevations and stuff, Dave? I don't think we do. Or do we?
No.
Okay. But on an apartment block, we could set up front elevation, side elevation, and if we wanted brickwork checks then on that, you would filter those brickwork checks out. Yeah, okay.
And that's it. So some projects do that, and then they would have like I've got corridor here. They might have level 1 and then level 2 if you're going to be signing off your checks per level on the north elevation. So you'd have your cladding sign off, your brickwork sign off, etc. And it's definitely a completely different sequence to what's going on in the plots. But yeah, you could have sequences for everywhere that you're inspecting, even external works and drainage if you wanted.
But that would be incumbent on us setting this up, though, Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, I was knocking that together pretty quick. And then also, if you've got a template, so the one I showed you, which was very busy, the reason why that's so busy is they've set that up for virtually every type of project. And then when they start a new project, I just clone that Google Sheet. Some will hide them, some will delete the lines that are relevant. And that'll just concertina it down to just their core sequences. So perhaps over time, you guys can come up with that. It's just a starter for 10 rather than every project starting from a blank canvas, really. But you can edit it as much as you like and rip it to shreds if you don't like what the previous project has given you. So yeah, I think that would cross this one off really comprehensively. Snagging remaining. This could kind of be done already. Let me show you. I mean, that one seemed a bit more project level because it's obviously per plot. Which project's quite busy or it's got data in it?
Will be Victoria Works is probably the one that's. But I don't think there's any snagging in there as such.
Okay. Well, I'll show you where you can see it. So if I went into just our dashboard, but if I sort of pivot the data rather than overview to drawing, I don't know how yours is set up. I imagine one floor plan and then broken into plots that way rather than a specific drawing per plot. So this will do it. So this basically shows you here. It still is quite good. These might be your forms. Don't know. I could expand here if I wanted. But if you had done snagging, you could just actually filter to just defects or whatever you call them, and then these numbers will be the statuses of the snags against all of your plots, your corridor, your stairwell. Yeah. So this is showing you a breakdown of all of the forms, but you get the gist. If you were doing snags, I'd filter out that you don't want to look at the forms, and then this would be a dashboard pretty much like what you've given me. But rather than going across the page, we're going down the page, and we'd be telling you what statuses those 100 are, rather than just saying you've got 100 open. I think you've got this one already, is what I'm saying.
You got to learn how to use it, I guess. And
yeah,
it's just
They're not
another
using
level,
it for
isn't it?
snags, Kevin David. They're not using it for snags on this site.
Well, they're still working. They haven't really finished anything to the extent that they should do because they're snagging in some of it. So I think they're probably just dealing with it in hand as where they are. So rather than using it as a tool, they don't want to check sheets because I'll bully them into doing it in a way. But I think for the snagging, I don't think they only use it what it really is designed for, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's just because of they do everything else on it.
we're pushing the quality forms because I want to see.
We are. This is another level, though, isn't it?
I don't know. Well, previously when they were doing paper forms, you know this, right? I don't have to tell you guys. You get a paper form that gets lost in ether somewhere. Hundreds of photographs that get stored on the phone, and never the two ever get matched up again. But obviously, why I'm pushing your product is because I know that kind of links it all together. So we're pushing the quality forms, we're pushing site diaries and health and safety through at the moment, and it is getting better. You can see we started to use the stuff, especially on Victoria Work. But probably the next step is the guys are still writing a bloody snagging list. Photocopying it 20 times, one for the painter, one for the plumber, one for the candlestick maker, and whatever. But that's the next bit for us now, is showing the benefit and how we can see all the forms that are being done and how much easier it is for them. And the next bit is us pushing the snagging bit.
Yeah.
See, the thing is I asked the guys, if I'm honest, to when I walk in a plot, I want to see a list on the kitchen top, so the subbies can sign it off themselves. Because another part for a physical list is, once the subbies done, you can tick it off. Subbies don't have access to this generally. I suppose they could do if we gave them access, but a piece of paper on the side is easier for them to tick off rather than having to deal with going through everything, I suppose. But it's just me. I want to see a list in there, because anyone that doesn't come in hasn't got a digital copy. At least there's a paper one, and they can tick it and say I've done it.
Yeah,
That's the next level that I need to drive, really.
Those workshops we did, Dave did those workshops with Natalie and the team, right? They work definitely, because they've seen some stats in that report. So we know that that's worked, Kevin. So yeah, I think we can see that they're starting to use it more. Snagging, stuff like that, you've really got to put it in commercials. When you entertain a contract with a brick company or a painter, you need to put it in the commercials. You will use our snagging. You will be sent snags, and you've got to clear them down within Snag R. If it's in the commercial,
it is worded in a trade specification, yeah.
In every trade spec, it's been in every trade spec since I started talking to you about it. So
Yeah,
I thought that was the first thing I did, because at Castle everybody was saying, "Oh, bloody trade spec, you bugger off, unless you want to pay us to do it." So that was the first thing I did, Bass.
No, I'm not telling you how to run your business, but you've got big brother and little brother and gentle brother. But someone like, I won't mention names, some of our other partners, it's in the commercials, and it's like, you are not responding to snags. Therefore, when you put your invoice in, I ain't paying you. And when you start fixing the snags and the defects I've sent you, I'll start paying your bill. And you get into conversations like that. Now, I'm not telling you how to run that business, but that's how they make them clear their defects down.
We just need to link all these little bits and pieces up, don't we? I mean, it's just another part of it getting bigger.
Yeah. But there are ways like that our partners have told us this is what we do now, and we get a better response. But anyway, certainly once we get them snagging, Kev, that's all in there. This is all standard stuff James is showing you. That's just part. That's part of the management suite of reporting that is complementary.
Complementary. They are